Hi guys, and welcome to this session of SME Stories. I'm joined today by Jeff Gosling. Hi Jeff.
Hi Joe.
So Jeff he runs an award-winning business, and his business focuses on business planning and growth. And I've invited him here today to talk about what growth looks like nowadays, how we can help ourselves, and what we ought to be doing as business owners during this period of time. So, Jeff, thank you for joining us. Tell us what got you into business planning and growth. What drove you there?
Yeah, hi Joe. Last 20 odd years, I've been working in businesses, other people's businesses or PE-backed businesses in various positions. Tended to get into situations where I got bored quite quickly. So I'd work on something, I call it a project, and I tended to move from job to job after several years, predominantly when it got boring and everything was working well. So I've worked out I was a bit of a builder. I like to build things and then leave them when they're already built for someone else to do. Got to a point of life where I wanted to do things for myself. I had one business grow up to about 12 million euros, another one up to about 4 million euros. So I had experience of building businesses, but wasn't really learning much myself. Jumped in, looked at all different things, and came across an organisation called ActionCOACH. Looked at all different ones, and eventually jumped in, and I'm now part of their community with my own business.
What's the difference, Jeff, between helping someone else build a business and setting out on your own? In your of course.
Yeah, good question. I think being a business owner yourself and looking to grow a business, which is what I'm doing. I mean, a lot of coaches are perfectly good coaches, just working on their own and coaching. One of my core values is congruency, and I've been driving to grow my business faster than any of my clients. So I think the key difference between doing it yourself is that it's my responsibility. I'm accountable for running my business. I'm 100% not accountable or responsible for anybody else's business. So my job with them is a combination of holding them accountable, giving them clarity on what they need to get to, and being the sort of outside view, and education and mentoring. But fundamentally, the key role with me, with a business owner, is to help them to be the best business owner they can be, not to run their business for them. So I'm not running their businesses.
That's kind of a good myth, isn't it? Because I think often as service providers to businesses, we can often feel like we're responsible for anything that happens there. Certainly I do. I have a kind of over sense of responsibility for everything that happens, but actually the reality is you're providing a support service to them, and the same with the accountability and the coaching. Tell me, okay, so we were talking kind of earlier about risk profiles. And I know you work with the kind of the legal community and the ambitious growing community of businesses, those people who have teams. I wondered what your experience is of those businesses at this particular time. So we're what, 5 weeks into lockdown now. We'll date this video, but it's we're 5 weeks into lockdown. What are you seeing in those high growth, ambitious businesses at the moment?
Yeah, one of the investments I made was in a thing called Spotlight, which is the same profiling tools around mindset and around preferred behavioural styles that Manchester City use and GB Olympics use. So it's the kind of market leader. And so the good news is all my clients get that information, so they understand their own profile. And typically people's profiles, and there's lots of profiling tools out there of different levels, I'm not saying it's the only one, but they typically focus on whether you're kind of fast-paced, slow-paced, people-focused, task-focused, risk-averse, cautious, or sorry, optimistic or more prudent. And the reality is that knowing that stuff about yourself is really, really important right now, because what we're seeing a lot of is, especially for people who I'm doing a lot of work with people who aren't my clients at the moment, I'm doing complimentary sessions, getting people together, webinars every week. I mean, there's a lot of stuff just to help the community, which is crucial for us in our roles to do right now. And the thing I'm seeing marked is that people are, as is proven through the science behind it, is that in the current stressful situations when there is something to be won or lost, people revert to their natural profiles. Now, if you revert to your natural profile and it's not the right one for your business right now, and you need to flex and you need to kind of think about it differently, maybe you're too cautious and you shouldn't be furloughing all of those people. Maybe you should be thinking about what you can do. You should be a little bit more optimistic, or vice versa. If someone's running off optimistic and they're not being prudent around their cash flow forecasting and their planning. So right now, people are reverting to type. And people know what their types are. I usually do the profiling and then I have them guess what they are, and they kind of know what they are. So you probably know what you are already.
Risk averse at my heart, at my core. But in business, you've got to take so many more risks. So it's I imagine that, yeah, I've definitely gone to this type in my business dealings over the last few weeks, deliberately for that very reason. Like, I know, okay, I don't think I can do anything different at this point in time. It's, yeah, tough.
So the mindset of the people running businesses is being the biggest impact on whether those businesses are going to come out of this well, or whether they're going to struggle. Because it's not going to just go back to normal. I think we've all agreed that we're in a different place now.
How do we shift that mindset, or is that kind of another conversation?
Yeah, well, and I'm not saying use me. I'm just saying it's very, very difficult to do on your own.
Right.
So again, congruency is one of my core values. I've just trebled my investment in coaching. Despite my business being impacted, so I'm doing more work than ever for less money, and I've trebled my investment in having somebody next to me getting me through it. And I'm not using them for a bit of education or a bit of knowledge or a bit of how to do this. I know that stuff. No, I'm using them for the stuff I can't do on my own.
You know, it's funny, that was one of the biggest lessons for me, not just in business, but in life. All these things that I thought I could do on my own, I recognized that I couldn't. I had to do it with the right person. And of course, you have to have somebody who's either got the experience you have or that understands what you're going through. That's a personal choice who you choose. But I had to have somebody else kind of holding my hand, just saying, hey, Joe, you know, everything, sometimes you just need somebody to say, everything's going to be okay.
Right now, that's what people need. A lot of what we do in normal times is we challenge people to say, are you really, you know, what? Yeah, so far you're at that level. Is that where you went into business for? Don't you want to get to that level? You know, a lot of it's challenge. Right now, it's the opposite. Right now, it's support. There's enough challenge out there. We're in there literally arm round. Come on, let's get there. The tone changes. Of course it does. Now, in everyday life with a client, the tone changes depending on where they are in their journey, right? But at the moment, I mean, now, you know, we're a few weeks, we're a month in, 6 weeks in or whatever. Now we're in a position where the clients I've sort of taken through that journey, you know, that pit of despair and come out of it. Now it's all about challenging to get where they want to be, but not most people I start talking to now, it's just support. Half of it's just getting out of their environment. So the reason I do the webinars is not just for me to go, woohoo, I've got some PowerPoint slides. It's really about bringing people out of their little worlds into environments. So there's, for every 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes I do, I make sure there's plenty of time for networking and people to share ideas and say how they fit. So part of it's just getting people out and opening their mind to the environment. Environment's so important. People's environment as business owners, critical. You know, we're all human beings. You put yourself in an environment where you think it's the norm to shut down, you watch the news, furlough everyone and don't listen to anyone else. That's your environment. Get out of it, you know, get into an environment of people that are likely to be where you want to go to. And that's what my job is, to bring those people together, not because I know all the answers, but because then they can share. You know, down to them. People are very, very clever. Business owners are amazing.
Yeah, and resilient. There's a huge amount of resilience. And like you said, there's things that you can do to support the community, you know, just for me, the idea of this SME Insights was to support you guys as small businesses, but also to support the small businesses that are listening to what's being shared. Because to me, that is there's such power in this community. Like, there is a huge
amazing
power in this community that is almost untapped, but isn't, because there's so much wealth and wisdom in this environment, and the mindset of this group of people who are kind of all bandying together and say, okay, right, what can we do? How can we pivot? What does that mean? What does that look like? Share some of the stuff you've been sharing with, because I know you've got some webinars, and we'll post at the end of here links to those webinars, but share some of the stuff that you've been sharing with these business owners over the last couple of weeks. What's landed, what works, what's not relevant anymore. I'm really interested in that. What's What training have you been offering?
Yeah, initially it's all been about, and the word pivot's getting a little bit hackneyed now, but I was doing, literally on the Monday there was lockdown, I was doing webinars on the Wednesday. So this was, not slow stuff. First in, when we were doing that, it was very much about just waking people up to the fact that they need to change. Pivot, pivot, pivot. It was the key word, and it's getting a bit hackneyed now. But that was the word. It was just don't stop and wait for it to come back. Change what you're doing. That was the message then, and it's still relevant for a lot of people. Some people have said, well, I've got to do something, and this is what I'm going to do. And like always, a decision, right or wrong, at least you can change it later. You've made a decision. The main thing to start with was about bringing people out of wait and see. You can't wait and see. Act now. Do something. Okay? And so that was the initial messaging. And there was a list of sort of 12 steps. I think there's webinars on YouTube, but it's like 11 steps or whatever, things you need to look at. Crucially, if I'm looking at some of the key steps that have then been developed into other webinars, it's around putting yourself in the right environment, in the right community, turn the news off, right? Get your information from good sources. Number 2, crucially, focus on what you can do, sales and marketing. It may be that people can't buy right now, but what you're doing with this, 100%. Okay.
You're saying to increase your sales and marketing right now, like now is the time to increase your sales and marketing.
It's the last thing. It's been proven in every downturn. The people that sell, market, pivot change their messaging to be empathic to the current situation, to give value, not expecting anything back right now. Then when things do come back, you've accelerated because people are more open to listening right now. They're around right now. So the opportunity for anyone, marketing, services, business to business especially right now, and consumer, they're all at home as well. I've got interior designers who are talking to people about what they're going to do when they can get in and do the work, but they can still plan it all out now. Every client I'm working with, I've not met one yet who hasn't been able to come up with some cool stuff that's put them in a better place compared to everybody else, compared to all the people that are just sitting at home or waiting for it to change, or just thinking if we carry on looking after our existing clients, that's good enough. It's not. The cake's got smaller. We need a bigger slice. Marketing and selling. The crucial thing, the other thing that's really hammered, like this was the session I did last week with one of my clients around getting the right numbers into your business. Now that's crucial in normal times anyway, but people tend to, I don't know, cash flow forecasting is less of an issue when you've got plenty of work on, right? When all boats are rising on a tide, people don't tend to do the detail. Right now, you can't. It's cash flow forecasting. Who turns up to webinars about cash flow forecasting in normal times? No one, right? It's a boring subject. I wouldn't even do it, right? But crucially, right now, you can put that stuff out there and people are genuinely like, yeah, I really need to do that. So the analogy I used, which resonated well with the Polish community I did this particular one with, was a business networking event for Polish and anyone else. But if you want to get on with the Poles, I can introduce you. But crucially, it was about, look, envisage your car. Your business is like a car. Most people drive it looking at their last month's profit and loss and the last month's performance and last year's and how we're doing. And it's like driving a car, just looking in the rearview mirror. So it's all about getting those numbers in that give you the dashboard, and your cash flow forecast is your fuel gauge. So you can have all these exciting, optimistic views of coming out of this, but if you don't have a cash flow forecast, don't have a petrol gauge, you don't know when you're running out of petrol. And a lot of that links into the conversations around, so how can we get money out of government? Who is financing? And obviously I've got the community of people behind me that can help people get money and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a lot around those two things. The other thing, of course, suddenly everyone's gone home. So suddenly it's been about remote leadership. And it's been around, and the next one next week is all about taking that from just managing people at home. I'm working with one of my other client partners who does HR. We're going to do a thing on employee engagement remotely, right? So don't just manage your team, but actually come out of this with a stronger virtual team, right? What a great opportunity to build a business that doesn't all have to sit in the same office in the future. The world's not going back. So all the things are very much linked and built on some of the core themes that stemmed from the initial work that we were doing. As people come out of it, they need more information. So we're just throwing it out there.
Brilliant. And I think that, I mean, I imagine, and you know, I count our content as part of that. There's so much content out there at the moment, and so many good, well-meaning people giving some great wisdom. So I I'm definitely consuming more of that than I was before, partly because it's out there, but also because I don't have a clue. Whereas I had a clue before. Now it's like, what should I? Or maybe I mean, gut feel. You have a good gut feel, don't you? And I've got good intuition as to what the next steps are. But I think as a business owner, like talking to people and saying, oh, you're doing that. Oh, great. Yeah, good. Tick. Got a cash flow forecast in place. Know what that's going. Just knowing that oh God, I hate the phrase, but we're all in this together. But that phrase is so true, particularly with the small business guys. Like,
Yeah.
There's less competition at the moment. And I don't mean nobody's competing with other people. It's just there's so much more collaboration because none of us wants to see anybody else go under. Or maybe that's not true, but that's what it feels for me. It's like there's kind of, it brings out the best in this community, these kind of trying times.
I actually think that just to pick up on a point you made there, it's my belief and what I've seen in all my time with business owners, maybe it's just the ones I attract, but fundamentally, part of the profiling is you know what you're good at and where your flow is and what you can do quite easily, but bringing people together to help each other and creating that environment was the number one instinct when this kicked off. That's why I pushed myself through I didn't particularly want to do webinars. I've put them off in the past. I don't want to be out on camera. So pushing yourself through that perturbation to do stuff, knowing it's the right thing to do for everybody else. And that's been probably my biggest takeaway from this. It's forced me to do stuff that I'd perhaps been putting off and didn't have to do. And I think if loads of business owners are now currently so out of their comfort zones that they're doing stuff they wouldn't normally do, they're more open to change. It's going to be a massive positive, so long as they're doing the right stuff.
Well, I was going to ask you about opportunity. What do you think are the opportunity that I actually don't like talking about lockdown or COVID or the situation. What I do like to think about are what are our opportunities forward focused, coming out of a crisis, any crisis, what are the opportunities available to us? Give us some hope. Jeff, give me some hope.
Yeah, well, the good news is, I believe in an abundant society, okay? So there's enough for all of us. Everyone's got if everyone's doing the right job in sales and marketing and finding their niche, the stuff you're great at and the sort of people you attract, that doesn't suit somebody else, okay? So for me, it's all about abundance. So the key point, the real opportunity here is to build those collaborations, to put the time into building those collaborations. Who are your strategic partners? So I'm building one which is all about trusted advisors. So, you know, literally go to any business owner and from their current problem through to the life of their dreams and selling their business, category A, top level people at each level. So you can just go in and go, bam, increasing my value. I've been doing it for years. This has accelerated it, okay? So this is something that people like yourself, law firms, and anyone who's giving proper advice and business to business advice, you know, it's not, winning is not a solo sport. It's always been a team game, always. So what a fantastic opportunity to build your team. Okay, that's the big opportunity, because if you can leverage 5 or 6 trusted advisors all helping each other's clients, you've just 6 times your market without even going out cold to anyone new. And it's all through referral. So depending on your business, of course, the opportunities elsewhere are to actually create products and services that others aren't doing that actually change how you operate in the future. To go remote in your team and reduce your overheads. You know, we're not in the real estate business. Offices, how many do we need? What are the benefits of bringing people together? How can we engage with our clients? How can we give better value to our clients now that they're on these types of systems? Amazing opportunities all over the place. But we've got to finance it. We've got to get through the next couple of months. And I'm very conscious you've got different business owners at very different stages. So I always ask the question, you know, where are you at the moment? What's the situation? And I'm talking to some business owners, if they don't get money through these processes and systems and funding in the next couple of weeks, they don't have a business. So there's no point talking to them about the future. And I've got other business owners who are a good chunk of people, about 50%, they're kind of impacted, but they could come out of it stronger. And that's the area. And the other small percentage, they're just gone crazy. They've got, you know, they're selling, you know, medical stuff to the hospitals.
They're selling widgets, you know, that are so profoundly important right now that there could not be any recession in their minds, at least for the next 3 months. they're growing, but it's a small percentage of people, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it just depends on the opportunities, different for everyone. But I believe the mindset of looking for the opportunities is the key thing. It's very rare there's not something for someone.
Yeah.
Unless you're a complete shutdown, you can't operate. But you've seen the stories. I mean, you know, restaurants flipping to delivery only, all sorts of stuff. I mean, people whose entire lives revolve around going out like interior designers and looking around people's houses or measuring people's houses or how they do this or how. You'd be amazed how many great situations I've seen where people have come up with ingenious ways.
My grandma's funeral was on Thursday, and they have a whole, I don't know really what it's called, but it's a whole website dedicated to collecting all of the pictures, collecting all the videos for the sermon, and they are now, they've got the priest coming to the crematorium, but everybody else being at home. Like, it's not,
oh, wow.
It's not just Zoom. Zoom is not the thing. It's not the online. It's how you do that from beginning to end and create a great experience for the whole family when you're in a strange situation. I've got a client who completely pivoted. I say pivoted. I mean, pivot suggests you actually had an axis. He was doing this, and he's now created the app for working out whether there's COVID-related deaths in your area. You know, like, and someone else who was saying, oh yeah, we're flying in the PPE from China. All sorts of people doing some really interesting and courageous things just to ensure that they're still front and center and that they're still in business. And that's what I'm hearing you say. It's like,
you sparked a really good idea there, because it's not just your products and services, it's what you can do for your clients or whatever. So a lot of my clients who are in positions where they can't do much, I said to them, well, look, you know, how important is it? One of the other things you asked about what people should be doing is over communicating. I've heard a number of people go, oh, everyone's putting so much stuff out there, it's all too noisy. It's like, no, yes, there's a lot of stuff out there, but if it's the right stuff to the right people that know, like, and trust you already, they want it from you. Right now is not the time to say, oh, there's too much noise, I'm not putting anything out there. Ring these people up, ring up your clients, ring up your suppliers. How are you going to deliver a business in the future if your suppliers are dead? Right? Help these people, introduce them to people again who can help them. Just give people the help they need now, even if it's not yours.
Absolutely.
Your network, your sales team could be calling people, your network can be doing stuff for you. I've had one situation, for example, where, you know, an entire business that was servicing airports for doing all the cleaning and stuff, they've obviously got nothing on. And yet there are other businesses that are going into all these other places that are now need to be cleaned regularly. And so literally just linking people together so that the staff from one business can support the business from another business right now. It's a win-win, right? Absolutely. Or someone's got a really good sales team that's used to selling to a certain target market, and they can't sell their services, but that sales team could help another business and you can share the profits. Literally find the business or someone in your team who sells something that your market does need right now and help them with the sales. They can pay for the salespeople instead of furloughing them. I
just say, just off the back of that, you've given me an idea, and that's great, isn't it? Because I've got a meeting this week and I'm like, who else can I've just thought, furloughed individuals. Look, Jeff, this is fabulous. Thank you so much for spending some time talking to me about business growth in the new normal. That should be the next phrase, shouldn't it?
There'll be a seminar soon, won't there, on that, a webinar soon.
I despise and hate that phrase, the new normal, but there are a lot of phrases I hate at the moment. But my attitude is, what I can do is change the narrative within the business community, and I think you've helped to do that today. So thank you very much. How can people get in contact with you? How can they see your webinars, more importantly?
Yeah, well, consistency in marketing is key. So despite webinars not being my favorite thing personally, I'm getting better at them. I'm going to have to spend some money on lighting and everything for my little area, because this is usually my little office for coaching from, not for broadcasting to the nation. But every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, I'm doing a webinar. The easiest thing is to get on a mailing list. My Jeff Gosling, JEFFGOSLING at ActionCOACH, all one word.com, or just look me up, Jeff, JEFF Gosling, GOSLING on LinkedIn. I do most of my stuff and my market all comes through LinkedIn. I do an enormous amount on LinkedIn. So if anyone wants any top tips or advice around what to do on LinkedIn, I can help with that as well. Most of it's driven through that and through mailing. And then if you're interested, again, I'm not, at the moment, it's just about bringing people into community. So once you're on any of that, to say, hey, I'd be interested in being on your list or seeing your content, then I'm doing content out there all the time, free sessions for people, free solopreneur clubs. Just at the moment, it's just give. So there's no downside, and it's not with a view to people going, I need your coaching next week. It's just join in, get some environment. If it's not my community, join another community. So get out there and join in.
Join the communities for sure. Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate your wisdom today. I'll look forward to joining your webinar next week on the engaging teams. And thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks so much for asking me, Joe. I take it real compliment.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Thank you to everybody that's watched. Share, comment, like, subscribe, etc. Love for you to be a part of our community, NaviStar Legal. So join us next time for another conversation on SME stories, and I hope all goes well with your business growth at this time. Bye, guys.